Our next question comes to us from a listener in Washington, D.C. She says, could you explain what Esau's selling of his birthright represents to us today?
Well, as most of you know who listen to this program, Esau sold his birthright. He had a wonderful opportunity of being the oldest son in the family because although he was a twin, he came out first and he was declared the firstborn. Now, the firstborn in a home in that day had certain privileges as well as responsibilities. He was the high priest of the family. He inherited a double portion. He had many responsibilities given to him that none of the other children of the father had. Now, Esau despised this birthright in the fact that he did not consider, even though he's in the godly line that's leading to Jesus Christ, he didn't consider that that was to him of any importance at all. And he despised it because he was willing to sell it for a bowl of soup. And believe me, friends, that is certainly reducing prices. He really had a sale on his birthright. He cut off about 99 and 44 100% of what it was worth and sold it for a miserable bowl of soup. And that indicated that he did despise the privileges that went with it. He had certain options that any other children in the family would not have. He did not care for that. He didn't care to be the priest of the family. He didn't care to serve God at all. But he's a son. He's a son as much as any other son is. In fact, more so, he's the firstborn. Now, you say, how do we apply this to the Christian today? You must understand that there was never a question about whether Esau was a son in the godly line that was leading to Christ, that he and Jacob were brethren, and he despised it. Jacob, although a trickster and clever and crooked, he wanted it. He had a desire. That's the strange thing today. It's one of the paradoxes of life that there are some men today that actually seem to want to serve God, but they don't. They do the opposite. In fact, they'll do anything that is not even above board. They're willing to stoop to do something that is questionable in order that they might be able to serve God. And they are not serving God, of course, at all. Now, this man, Esau, then represents to us a Christian, a certain kind of a Christian, one who does not appreciate the position that he has as a son of God. He does not appreciate that he has certain privileges that are granted to him, and he does not use them. You hear this so much today, that so-and-so is not using up all of his potential. He's never reached his potential. And we hear it said that there are many people dissatisfied and they feel frustrated because of the fact that they are not able to measure up to their potential. They don't feel they've been given the opportunity to do that. And I would say that that's the sad case today of many Christians who have a marvelous opportunity and a marvelous privilege of serving God, but they don't think it's worth very much. They are willing to sell it for a bowl of soup. However, today they have a marvelous opportunity of serving God. I was in school with several men. They had a real gift of preaching, being a man of God, but they despised it apparently because some of them sold it out for a position of selling insurance. Nothing wrong with selling insurance, but if God has called you to preach, you certainly ought not to be out selling insurance or being a second-hand automobile salesman. I know one man that he entered the ministry, and he gave it up. And out here in Hollywood, he was selling secondhand automobiles. I consider that the selling of your birthright. This man actually a graduate of seminary. He had a real gift, and he's willing to give that up. And then how many have been in the Lord's work and just for maybe one evening, of going out on the town, and it's ruined an entire career. There are many like that today. They sell their birthright very cheap. My friend, God has called those of us that have accepted Christ. We have a high and a noble calling, and we are to represent the Lord Jesus down here on this earth. Tremendous opportunity, and there are many options that open to us today in which we can serve God, and many of us do not walk into them or accept them. And there are those today that even worse than that, they don't drop into any sin just because of laziness. I know several preachers that they never were able to be good preachers because they were not willing really to dig in and study. I'm using these as illustrations because this is the crowd I've been with now for many years with preachers. I think I know them pretty well. And I see quite a few of them that are very lazy. They don't work. And you've got to work, my friend, if you are going to serve God. I don't care what you're doing, you have to work.